thanks, Carl. Thanks, Michael. Thanks all the team to give us the opportunity to present. I will share my screen just now. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, you're up, and I'm going to start timing.
Great. So I'm Sylvain Faguet. I'm the Chief Sales Officer for marine renewables. We develop systems and software to reduce the greenhouse emissions of the shipping, and also we work on improving the safety of life at sea. As of today, we still see incidents at sea, collision, groundings, and this is not possible anymore. So we work hard to develop the right systems for the merchant ships. How we do that? So we apply a model-based engineering approach. We really well understand how the floating platforms behave, and we are able to model them very accurately. And then we are able to simulate the behavior of those floating platforms. So either just one system or either a complex system with several bodies. So we are able to analyze it to predict how it will be moving, how it will be reacting to the environment. And then we are able to plan and to execute operations. So we are able to develop control systems, and then that will allow us to optimize the use of those floating platforms, which can be vessels or a floating wind turbine or any other wave energy converter or so on. So for that, we have been working the 5 last years very hard on our research and development to put on the market 4 product and services. The first one is Freedom, which is our multi-body and multi-physics simulation framework. Really, this is the base for all our development. It's the, let's say, numerical environment in which we can model and simulate all the systems, all the structures, offshore platforms, offshore systems, and even a scenario. So you can see here a wave energy converter on the left. In the middle, it was the simulation of a tug assist operation for drilling, and on the right is it's some wind assistance propulsion system on board a bulk carrier. So with Freedom, we are able to really to simulate all the physics around the ship, the hydrodynamics, the aerodynamics, the interaction between the several bodies with mooring lines, with towing lines, with all this. SATORI is our online statistical weather routing analysis tool. So it's an online service that we have developed for, let's say, the ship owners, naval architects, and wind assistance technology providers, for them to run a huge batch of route optimization on historical weather data. So this was part of a project financed by the Copernicus Marine Environment Monitoring Services, the European program that is providing the historical data, weather data. So basically, the client will be able to run hundreds of optimized routes for different days, and then you will be able to analyze easily with some dashboards the occurrence of wave, of strength of wind, and so on. Oceanics is our embedded system for navigation for ships. Basically, right now it has different functionalities like weather routing, autopilot and DP, dynamic positioning, monitoring, and navigation, electronic chart display. So we have also developed some specific function for wind-assisted ships. We are currently discussing we're discussing a lot with 2 projects in France, which are rural vessel with wind assisted propulsion systems, And we are also working on the next functionalities for the future, advanced perception and collision detection, to go towards decision support for critical operation. So we work on the autonomy at sea, basically. Autonomy is quite a big subject right now, but we don't know yet which level of autonomy will be possible to do. So we are working on different steps and different level of autonomy. And finally, BladeX. So this is really our system for the floating offshore wind turbine. So it's an add-on controller that will be optimizing the power production while stabilizing the full system. Indeed, as of today, the energy developer are taking offshore fixed turbine and put them on floating platforms, and then there is some effects that are not well taken into account. So we work on this. We have run some tests in the ocean basin in Nantes in the university, and really we are working hard with some technology developers to put our control on board. So our ambition is to go towards two main markets with high potential. The first one is the green smart ships and in the future autonomous vessels, and with a special focus on wind-assisted ships and on the decision support system that we want to provide. And the second one, as I said, is floating offshore wind farms, which will represent a huge market in the future. Of course, going further off the coast, it will be better to get better winds, and there is a lot of commercial projects that are being planned in US, in Asia, and also in France and Europe. So our team, as of today, we're 15. We are all engineers, and half of us are PhDs. Our competencies are from hydrodynamics to system and software engineering, going through robotics, control, and data science, artificial intelligence, and mechanical. So up to now, we've been for the 5 first years of the ICE, we've been living thanks to the engineering services that we have been doing for the world maritime industry, sometimes to some majors of the energy sector, offshore energy sector, but also a lot of studies with some smaller companies, more locally in France and in the west part of France. And then we want to move to the sale of our system and software. So basically, last year we've been doing $1 million turnover on engineering services, and we want to switch to sales of system and products, and to double again the turnover in the next coming years. So for that, our next phases are first to focus on this wind-assisted ships market. As I mentioned, we were in close discussion with two projects, and we're really close to put our system on board. And then we will also go for fundraising to finalize the go-to-market of our products and to build the commercial offer around each of those projects. Also, we want to, in the meantime of the fundraising, we want to name a scientific and technical committee board to set the development roadmap of the ICE. Up to now, we've been working with some technical and commercial partners, and we've been a lot supported by the French clusters, different French clusters around the blue economy. So the opportunity to speak today was really good for us, as we want to go international and to get support in other regions of the world. So it's a really good opportunity that you're giving us. We are still looking for new technical partnership, and also looking for investors. So I will be happy to answer any of your questions in the Q&A time after the presentation of my colleagues. Thanks a lot.
So thank you so much, and also very, very good presentation. You know, we do 2 days early, we get everybody together, and I would say you did a wonderful job of of kind of precisely focusing on what you do and getting your story out. You were less than 9.5 minutes, so great job. I hope you have some great opportunities, and I've got at least one company I think one's going to talk to you. Okay, we typically start further away and work our way back. I think Amos Barkai is about the furthest away, but so he will be our second presenter from OLSPS. And I will, as I promised him, I will raise my arm at 8 minutes because that's what he asked for.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Amos Barkai. I'm a co-founder, CEO, and co-owner of OLSPS. OLSPS is a 40 people strong company. Main office is in Cape Town, beautiful pre-corona days in a Christian Garden. Everybody invited to visit us there. We are operating from on the cloud, all of us right now, but that's normally where we are situated in Cape Town, but we have some offices in Cape Town and in Portugal as well. OLSPS is not a big company, but it has its finger in many sort of technology jars. I'm going to focus only on the logbook software solution that we developed for the Marine unit, but in general, we all specialize in data technology in many different sectors of the industry of commercial sectors. And we also have many partners. We are IBM award-winning partner, gold partner, and we have many partners, either technology partner or distribution partner. So let's start straight into what we are doing. So let's start with the core of our eLog technology or marine technology. This came about because in recent years there was a growing public pressure to introduce holistic marine ecosystem data and consideration to fisheries management programs. So how typical compliance bureaucrats dealing with pressure, they just move the pressure to the public or to the fishermen and swamp them with regulation, and that's really what happened in fisheries management. So it was
is now joining.
Sorry, so somebody came in. So really what we felt that the first thing to do is to get a basis of any improvement in data science and data management is to have a good tool to collect and store data. And believe it or not, until recently, the way data were collected in fisheries are this paper logbook, which then been moved into the shore and then typed in one by one, digitized into a computer, sometimes 2 years between the time the data were collected to the time that they were digitized. And you can assume what type of errors all of them have. So we said that the first thing to do is to take the data collection system and to create a technology to bring data collection technology. And in this space, we developed two applications. One is a vessel or onboard eLog application. We call it Dynamic Data Logger. And then a fleet management system, we call it Dynamic Data Manager. And the vessel application is now used in many fisheries around the world. It was a significant journey to develop it. This is the version that you are seeing now, it's version 7. It's a touchscreen ready system, can work on a laptop, on a tablet, and it can collect any type of data. When I say any type of data, can be catch data, effort data, can collect videos, can collect, can be connected to different sensor, environmental sensor, and can produce the data in any type of output, can be in terms of maps, charts, tables, and you name it. Our system is really a data collection system with the ability to report to the authority. So it's certified in a number of countries, but the main focus of our system is to actually build capacity within the fishing sector, commercial fishing sector, so they can utilize data for their own benefit. We have a shore system that can manage a whole fleet. When I say a whole fleet, even at a national level, and can manage all the data collection, all the licensing, quota management, you name it, for entire fishing fleet. And we call it this is sitting on the cloud as well. And We call it the electronic dynamic data manager. Our software now is sitting in many countries. As we can see on the list on the top, is certified for compliance usage in many countries, in the Holland, the Netherlands, in Norway, with NOAA, soon in Canada, with Australia, with AFMA. We actually wrote the eLog protocol for AFMA, for the Australian authority, and with MAPI, we're in New Zealand, where we're working with hundreds of vessels in New Zealand. We're supporting these hundreds of vessels on a daily basis. We're providing we're making sure that all the compliance reports are sent, and we also provide them with many added value products to their data, and I will show you some of them. So the first thing is that we build a tracker, a vessel tracker, a real-time vessel tracker that don't require VMS or AIS or any other tracking. It's simple. We simply logging, putting GPS into our system, and the GPS together with a proxy system that we develop on the cloud allow us to track all the vessels that using our system. It's not just tracking them, we also tracking all the reports that are sent, so we can make sure that there is no problem. We're also providing permitted user with the information about what catch they have on their vessel in real time, what are any other data that are relevant to them. All of this done in real time, and we call this system Allplot. We also develop what we call a hotspot predictor or hotspot finder. This is really a system sitting on the vessel that allows the skipper to use his own historic data and to decide where he should go fishing based on different criteria, environmental or technical criteria, where he should go fishing. And in this particular example, you should go fishing in the red area or the yellow area, because that's the places where under certain condition he's likely to find the fish that you want in this particular time of the year. So this is a added value utility that we put on top of our data collection and reporting system. Just an example, we developed for the scallop fishery in the Northeast Atlantic in the USA. We developed a tool based on this particular utility, but in the fleet level, so on the shore system, that allow them to estimate a bycatch, which should not be caught in the water, and then to avoid fishing in area where there is high bycatch, and what we call a choke species. And the damage to this particular fishery by catching too much bycatch was about $30 million a year. So really the system is assuming that the vessel have our software on board, each one using it as a wish. This vessel then reporting automatically to the shore system what are the catches of the bycatch, of the undesired catches, how proportion of the CPUE of the catch rate is come from this bycatch. The system automatically aggregated all these catches to create a density map, and then sending a message to the vessel, hey, we have a density map for you for bycatches, and these bycatches then can be plotted. This density high map area, high bycatches area can plot automatically on the map. We have a system that we call RTI that allow to, which is ecosystem-based total fishery manager system. This is a unique system, allows to manage a fishery based on the sensitivity, ecological sensitivity of fishing area, and we can manage MPA, marine protected area, in real time. We also have a system that allows to link cameras that's sitting on the vessel to the electronic reporting system, send it to the shore, and to use the camera in the image to auditing the report, the compliance report sent by the fishermen. We develop, we are now in recent years started to develop a mobile solution. On the left one is a shark product tracing application, which allow you to tag any shark product that was caught, fins, the main body, tails, etc., and to track it to the end user. We also have developed an electronic logbook similar to what we show you on the desktop or the laptop for a mobile application, is now used in the Azores, and we're going to introduce it to the USA to Persian fishery soon. We also have a citizen science mobile application which allows us to collect anybody that is going to the sea to collect any type of observation, to identify any type, is any species, pollution, other structure, mermaid if you see, to identify this to the level of a species, and then to send it to a central hub sitting on the cloud. Our business model, we're working via business partner. Our financial revenue to date is about between $2 to $3 million. It's not easy calculation. We are generating fixed annuity of over $200,000 a year, but we want to increase this by 10-fold. So right now we have a mature software and product. The market is warming for us. What we're really looking is for people who want to join us for this journey, not necessarily venture capital company, but people who want to join us with different way. We're looking for fund injection from companies who share our vision, technical partners, or joint venture distribution partners. So this is Olrac. It is a solution, one place for all solutions. Thank you very much. I hope I'm still within 10 minutes. And the floor is yours again. Thanks a lot to you.
Well, you came in at 11 minutes, Amos.
Oh,
but it was better,
sorry about it.
better than Tuesday. And Sylvain was nice enough to end a little early, so I think we're okay. All right, let's move right along to our third presenter, ioCurrents and Cosmo King. Let's get you teed up, Cosmo, and let you start. Good job, Amos.
Thanks.
Got a lot to talk about, each of you companies. I know 10 minutes is too little, but hopefully the people in the audience appreciate how much you're all doing.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Cosmo King, CEO and co-founder of ioCurrents. We are a technology company out of Seattle, Washington, that's focused exclusively on analytics of maritime operational data. And over the years, we've actually developed an AI that's extremely beneficial in predicting and preventing failures at sea. So we have applications that we provide to the operators direct to predict failures of mechanical equipment, improve maintenance on that equipment, and reduce fuel consumption. So the typical way of monitoring equipment on board the vessel involves having an engineer stationed on board, a chief engineer, in the control room, surrounded by lights and gauges and alarms. And it's a very reactive mode in which he's waiting for things to happen. What often can happen is the big yellow siren goes off in the middle of the room, and that means one of 1,000 things may have gone wrong. And you have to run around in a situation where there's a problem and try to figure out which one that is. The situation today, in fact, is even worse because there's a growing number of sensors and systems on board that are still not properly integrated, and that becomes overwhelming for the. It becomes a sensory overload for people to manage. So what ioCurrents has done is digitize the control room. We bring together data from the engines, the generators, alarm panels, tanks, cranes, all the different systems on board the ship, and then correlate it to a high quality GPS and time so that we know when and where everything happened. This makes us able to analyze this stream of what is really big data on the vessel. It allows us to understand what the data means as quickly as possible and present that to the operators on board the vessel and the personnel on shore who are managing it remotely. Our key application that we just launched this year is called Automated Anomaly Detection. And this takes that high quality data set that we produce and actually runs machine learning on it in real time against multiple assets on board the vessel, the engines, the generators, etc., and detects anomalies against that model in real time. Not only that, but when the models go stale, which they do inevitably, we refresh and select the next best model to replace it. So there's a fully automated process of data science happening for all of the operational equipment on the ship. that allows us to watch when the people can't. Additionally, we look at trends and characteristics of that equipment over time in order to improve the maintenance processes. In the aviation industry, you may have heard that Delta Airlines went from 55,000 mechanical failure related delays and cancellations a year to 50 after they implemented reliability centered maintenance and predictive maintenance using techniques like this. But in maritime, no one has done it, and we have ships that have mechanical problems all the time. Well, we know the cost of failure is so high. And so in the tug and barge industry, we've been doing this here in the US for their maintenance programs and to help them be more environmentally efficient. So what we have is an end-to-end system that we've designed and built from sensor data acquisition on the ship to analytics to the platform in the cloud that makes it available ubiquitously. When we started out, first joined TMA BlueTech in the early days, we were working with our fleets here in Alaska and Seattle. Tugboats that we worked with deliver 70% of the freight to Southeast Alaska, and we were able to help them prevent multiple breakdowns a year at sea and measure the effectiveness of those results, as well as making the fishery safer in Alaska and protecting their catch. Today, we've just started working with our first cargo ships. This is bulk carriers and tankers in the US, and we are also on board with Kirby Inland Marine. That's the largest US based tugboat fleet, over 400 vessels, and Foss Maritime here is the largest West Coast tugboat fleet. So we're helping now the leaders in the sector, and with the current partners that we've developed in class societies and satellite providers and integration shipbuilders, we are planning to go global and in the process of doing so. There are many who are talking about analyzing big data and what to do with this, and so there are many applications in the world. Most of those come from the OEMs today, and there are a number of startups. But ioCurrents is really the only company that's fully independent, that's focused on analytics of all the ship's operational data, not just a subset of. And we really take our background in the tech industry and apply it. So we think that we're the best at what we do. This is our team. So I came from companies here in Seattle that started out as startups, and some of them were quite successful, like Isilon Systems. Our co-founder and CTO, Bhaskar, was at Microsoft and VMware, and we both were at EMC at different times. So our company is full of tech people, but we really have a passion for the sea and making the ocean safer and healthier. We have partnered with great companies like TMA BlueTech. We're on the board of directors at the Washington Maritime Blue Initiative, backed by Jay Inslee, which is to make our state the most innovative and sustainable in the country. Check it out. But really partnered with leaders in the industry to help their businesses as well go digital. And so we're currently on 7 fleets around the US, and starting our pilots with some international larger fleets. We have patented our edge analytics architecture, and partnership with a satellite company now that I can't mention yet is going to really take us to the next level, because we're helping them sell a data solution that they have by providing the analytics that they can't do. And they're on thousands and thousands of ships. So there's a great mutual benefit with companies like that. We're always looking for more partnerships with those who have data but don't know what to do with it. And we in fact have a kit now, our self-install kit, that can be dropped in the mail and sent anywhere in the world and installed on any ship in just a couple hours. So that's ioCurrents. What I'll just say in terms of the message for this talk, how is big data relevant now? I mean, big data is is more of a problem than a solution, right? Big data is what you have, but how do you know what it means? And in the times of COVID, with this rapidly changing world, I think analysis and understanding of this data in order to help the crew be more effective, in order to remotely manage the ships more safely and effectively is critical. And we need to be able to do more with less. We're all seeing that, and we need to be able to do more from the comfort of our living room. So, so how can we use that? The data is there already, and it's just a matter of making sense of it. So that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Cosmo, thank you. It was a great presentation, and you came in at 9 minutes. The three of you were really magnificent. You came in at just under 8:30. So I'm going to make a comment, but in the meantime, please use the chat function to put questions for the three presenters, and Carl Gouldman will be kind of looking at those and getting ready to do the comments. But I'd like to just do a fast shout out to Haro Bronze, who is the International Business Development Manager for Water Alliance, who's on the webinar today. He will be doing the same role that Carl Gouldman does next month for water wastewater. I think you all know that we are so pleased to be working with clusters on the ocean tech side. We also are doing the same thing on the water tech side. And Water Alliance in Leeuwarden in Holland is the largest water tech cluster. So we're pleased, Haro, for you to be on today, and we look forward to you being our moderator and speaker next month for water wastewater. All right, so Carl, I'd like to hand it over to you to kind of run the Q&A. So thanks very much. Three guys did a great job.
Yeah, thanks to our presenters. That was great. I think I'm going to start with the first one that came in the chat. I've got some questions that I've been jotting down as I go, but the first one is from Yi Chao at Blue Native Consulting for ioCurrents. Have you had any discussions with the Navy? They've struggled with condition-based maintenance models, and they've also invested heavily in unmanned platforms, and the sustainment model for future unmanned fleet is very immature.
Yeah, we've spoken with a couple divisions of the Navy, and there's certainly a lot of opportunity there. We have focused mostly on commercial sales because they're faster and they pay us. So so we certainly we're definitely interested to talk to the Navy more. Anytime, if you know somebody that we should talk to, please let me know, because it's an area we'd love to help more with. It's just we have a pretty small team at the moment, so trying to stay focused.
Great. I'm going to stick with you, Cosmo, just since the next one came in for you and you got the mic. But how do you handle variable data structures? I assume each sensor manufacturer provides data in their own proprietary format. This is from David Velasco.
They do. There's certainly a lot. Standards are a challenge in this industry. There's been a lot of proprietary and siloed data formats. What we've done is implemented as many standards as we can, and we're bringing on more all the time. So industrial data standards such as J1939 CAN bus, Modbus, TCP, Ethernet IP, Profinet, you could go on. There's like 20 common ones that we do pretty well, and we do have a team that can bring on new ones extremely fast. And this is how we import the data on the edge.
Thanks. Sylvan, when will you have your first oceanic systems operational?
As I mentioned during the presentation, we are in discussion with two projects in France here. The Neoline project, which is a ship owner project, opening a line between France, Saint-Nazaire, and the US, the east coast of the United States, and they will be using soft sails for masts. So we really are on a wind-assisted propulsion system that will be fitted on this vessel, and we have accompanied them already during the engineering of the rigging. We've launched a lot of weather routing, statistical weather routing to help them understand what would be the operating points of the vessel, which winds, which direction of winds, strengths of winds they will encounter. So yeah, we have good discussion with them. And then the other one is Neoline. Alizé, who has won the project for the transportation of the Ariane 6 launcher, spacecraft launcher. And each of those vessels is due to enter into service in 2022. One mid 2022 and the second one end of 2022. So that's are the best chances we have for our system right now. But we have also the discussion on smaller vessels, smaller crew transfer vessels for wind farms and so on.
Very quiet.
Carl, I can't hear you. I think your microphone is still cut.
Yeah, sorry. So I was saying thank you and then shifting to OLSPS to ask Amos a question. Sorry about being on mute. Amos, why don't you take that first one on the slide for you? Can and how does OLSPS provide real-time support?
As I presented in my slideshow, our business model is to work with local partners. All our local partners are technical groups with a lot of technical skill. We are trying to train them to offer a tier 1 support in their region, in their territory. In addition, all our systems have a remote access window, so we can access any computer. I have a case when I was in the mid-air flying, and we have a vessel from the North Sea needed help, and the engine contact us from the land somewhere, and all three of us work together at the same time to solve the problem, all in real time, and we actually solve the problem. So we basically have a remote. We can, on a significant issue, we can access the actual user computer in real time, but our local support partner providing most of the tier 1 support. And also because our system is so mature, we rarely have a support issue now. It's really tested and used daily with very, very few support issue.
So I'm curious, how is it going in terms of, this is a question I wrote while you were talking. Do you have your business model? Are you getting customers paying for the customized products? Because it looked like the hotspot for fishing, for instance. So how is that going? Is the market growing in there?
Yeah. Look, the biggest engine for our software is the compliance. That's why we introduced the whole compliance model. So normally we provide, most of our users have a need to have a system that comply with the electronic logbook requirement of the local authorities. On top of it, we build a lot of value to the user. So there is a license fee that the user, annual license fee that he pay for the core system. They call it the basic core system. And the core system have different price based on the complexity of the vessel type. If it's a small wetfish vessel, is one price. It's highly sophisticated factory vessel is another price. But all our solutions are based on this. They have the same base code. And then we have a plug-in or optional add-on modules that people can pay for them separately, if so they wish. The reality is that some of the clients, some of the latest clients, they're now buying the software because of the added value. They're taking the compliance for granted and actually buying the software for the added value. Especially the Hotspot Finder is a big attraction to a lot of users, a lot of commercial users.
Gotcha. Thank you. Cosmo, I don't know if you saw this one from Haro Bronze. Not my expertise, but does the satellite company provide shore connectivity when required?
Yeah, and most of the vessels larger than tugboats do have satellite on board. Well, the tugs usually will have it just for sat phone exclusively if they're sort of a short offshore operator. And that is the method we send the data. We send the data over satellite. So we're kind of optimized for that extremely high latency, extremely low bandwidth situation. That's what we're doing in Alaska and on our cargo ships as across the ocean. We do have a solution in which one of the interesting things is for security and bandwidth optimization, we have a partnership with KVH where they will provide a terminal with us, and it's a new low-cost satellite solution. So it's a satellite solution designed for IoT data, and it's separated from the main ship's communications with a different satellite channel. So so there are some new cool satellite products coming out, but that is key to getting data in the world today.
Thank you. Sylvan, I had a sort of a BlueTech workforce question for you. You said that, I mean, your firm is an engineering firm and you said they're all engineers, but I believe your slide said a multidisciplinary team. So I was curious, what are the most important other disciplines that you need other than the engineering specialty to succeed?
Well, really, right now, we have this big team of really scientists, and then it's a lot of software engineers. We are developing systems that will be used by the crews on board, so we need a user experience, user interface specialist, and also we've been putting a high level of quality on the software architecture. So we have a team of 5 software engineers with all their specialties, and then the next profile that we will be looking for really will be also commercial workforce. As of today, the founder and myself, plus another one, are doing the whole commercial effort.
Thank you. By the way, all 3 of you are waiting for me to ask you questions, and I'm getting them in the chat, but you're also can ask questions to each other if you want to propose one. I'm happy to accept that as well. Amos, I had a question for you on the slide where you had the Shark app and the mobile commercial fishing eLog. I think you said you're bringing it to the US soon. Can you say a little more about that timeline?
You mean sorry, I showed 2 mobile solutions. One of them is the shark tracing, which is a product tracing. It means once the shark is caught, every part of the shark is tagged with using RFID tag. Then you go into further processing on the shore, further tagging, and then we follow the product all the way to the end user. That's we providing for right now for the Australian fishery, sharks fishery. It's funded by Traffic, and they want to bring it into the sort of international market, but more main focus on artisanal user, or more artisanal user. That's not going to the USA. In the USA, we have the full-scale Bycatch that's already working, or that's already been tested with the scallop fishery in the USA. And then we recently engaged with a Persin company big Persin company in New Orleans. They want to have the entire fleet to have a mobile version of our electronic logbook. We are talking to them almost daily now, and we'd like to bring it to them. The mobile version of our software we'd like to bring to them in the next couple of months.
Thank you. So I've got one that came in the chat for all of you. And so Amos, let's stick with you, and then I'll go back to Sylvan if he wants to add anything to my former question. But can each of the speakers discuss skills needed to work at your company, and is it a challenge to find qualified candidates? And also discuss if the talent pool is diverse, and what are you doing to seek diverse talent?
I think from our point of view, but I think it's probably applied to the other, you find out that we're dealing with very versatile technology. So we have everything. We have a satellite connectivity system. So I need a communication engineer. And we have a predictive analytics. So we need a data scientist and AI and machine learning. We're dealing with fish. So we have a stock assessment and fishery mathematician and fishery scientist. We have, of course, software developer, because everything, all our solution developed toward an end user that doesn't want to see or know any of the complexity that we're dealing with. So we're spending a lot of time and money on translating all our know-how and technology to very easy to use dashboard. So it's a combination of school. It's very expensive skill. Normally our ability to maintain staff is not because you are highest pair, but because you offer a lot of learning in our company, a lot of challenges, but also because we allow a lot of freedom, intellectual and also operational freedom to our people, and that's how we maintain fairly solid team of technical people and scientists.
So then, back to you. Anything new, and do you need me to repeat the question? In addition to what I asked about other than engineers, what do you need? They're saying.
I would say that what is difficult is to find people that are also passionate about the sea and the ocean and the marine environment. And besides this, having the technical skills that we are looking for. We've been funded in 2015, and since beginning of 2018, now the team, beginning of 2019, the team has not changed, but we had quite some turnover before that, and so we are happy. We are happy now to have built this solid team, and then I would say that now that we are going closer to the operational people, trying to sell our products, then we will need people that knows the environment, know the offshore operation, and knows that industry.
Cosmo?
Yeah, maritime has had a diversity problem, and so is tech, right? Both classically non-diverse industries. So that it's a huge challenge, and something I feel like we all need to work actively to remedy in the hiring and selection process. And even if you try, it's still really hard. But the good thing that I see is there is more awareness of the value of the ocean. There is more awareness of the importance of improving the climate. And in the tech industry, people are getting bored with working in Silicon Valley on apps for your pet. And so I think we can offer something in this industry. We have to market ourselves in a way. I feel like collectively we need to market maritime and how cool it is and how impactful it is. That's how we can get the best candidates. And then you'll get the people that are passionate. And there are a lot of people out there that are at big boring corporations that have these engineering skills, that have built products, for the enterprise that can help us in maritime. And that's kind of what we do. We steal judiciously, but we also look for young new programmers from across the board, really, programming, data science. We do almost everything. So another thing at a startup you can do is improve your skill set, right? And that's something that we can do, even if we can't pay you enough to buy a Ferrari in your first year. We can do something that's more meaningful.
I have a question for Michael. Can I answer it quickly? I think Michael would like me to talk to it. Michael asked me, he said that we have office in Portugal and also we have a project in the Azores. Why we are sitting in South Africa and why we need offices in Europe and what are we doing? Why are we expanding our reach? Well, the main reason is because especially in the EU, it's a certain funding is allocated only to EU-based country. Sometimes also South African have the, let's call it what we call it, the African stigma. They just hear Africa and how is possible that good science come from Africa. It's easier to offer good science if it's come from Portugal or come from a European country. This is very unfair stigma because we have extremely, extremely bright people and very, very advanced technology in South Africa, but difficult to argue your case sometime. So that's helped us to submit to compete for a big project in Europe as a European company and not as an African company. We are in the Azores. We started a very interesting project with a local local compliance manager there. They want to bring, they claim that fishery management without managing the people, the fisher at the same time is not complete. So what we've done, we introduced a complete crew management system to our electronic logbook just to show you how easy it is to add value to on a different level. Everything, all the crew is monitored with our system, and then the contribution of the crew to the overall performance, but also their social background, their profile, the education, the job, everything is part of our management, the information that we providing to the management authority using our application.
Thank you. So I want to take a crack at adding a little bit to what Cosmo said. Thank you for your answers on that last question. And I'm in my own, so I'm going to take a crack at answering the same question. So moderator's prerogative a little bit, but I'm at the program office in the government, so large bureaucracy, and then what kind of skills do I need and how do I get more diverse talent? And that's a big question. And I agree with you, Cosmo. A lot of it is getting inspiration across the board for what we do, and then understanding that there's opportunity there in the second place, right? And so one of the features I've found is that I've got a pretty small office with a huge mission, and I can't have just science and technical expertise. I've got to have project management expertise to be able to understand scope management and what's feasible, and partnership and relationship management expertise blended with science and technical. It can't be one or the other. I have to have both. So that's sort of one of my shticks that I'm talking about often when I'm out and about. I have a couple more questions that came in. One from Michael for Sylvan, and Sylvan, you dropped off camera. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. Michael asked, has de-ice worked with small winged unmanned surface vessels in addition to bigger vessels, and what advantages can you bring to the small USV market?
We haven't worked with any yet. We've been discussing with one which is located in the west coast of US. I can't remember the name just now, but it's really on the autopilot and the control of the USV itself that we can bring our expertise. Really taking into account that the USV will be navigating under sail and in the autopilot.
Thank you. And Cosmo, you've got another one here in the chat. Do you get involved in mitigating actions based on predictive failures, or do you consider that a handoff to the vessel operator?
Well, we really drive the operation of our platform right now through alerts, which can make recommendations, and so that might be broad and generalized. Like there's an anomaly in the high pressure fuel system of generator number 2, which will tell you where to look. So that level of interaction, which comes from the machine learning model. But in many cases, we do work with the operator to identify particular activities that we want personnel to change. For example, idle time on tugboats. We've actually created alerts which require a remediation for excessive idling on some certain classes of vessels, that they knew those vessels were just running their engines at 0 speed on the river for hours and hours at a time. It creates excessive pollution of black carbon. It damages the engine through sludge buildup, and it's just generally bad, and it does waste some fuel. So highly motivated to make that change. We made an alert that said if they were idling for more than 2 hours, they had to take a corrective action. That's rev up the engine to burn off carbon, clean the engine, and then shut it down. And so only after that activity had been performed does the alert go away. And so in that manner, we were able to reduce the idle time on that fleet by 63%, by sort of enforcing a company policy through the analytics.
Fascinating. So I had Another question for Sylvan. I'm pretty interested in the trend of commercial shipping adding sail power as a feature now. And so
yeah.
What's your experience with the growth trend in that arena?
But yeah, this is really for the shipping to answer the new regulation that came into that will came into force by the IMO to reduce the carbon footprint and to reduce the gas emissions, and we see more and more wind assistance technologies developers coming up on the market. Some are really close to the market, but some other are quite far with systems that are not really ready. And I must say, in France there is quite a few of those players with kites, with soft wings, with rigid wings, and so there is we can see a real interest from the ship owners to look at these systems. Of course, there is an uncertainty on the operational side of it, because right now we haven't seen that much system on board vessels. The only one which has been used a lot is the rotor flattener that we can see on some German ships, I think. And it's from the German company. It has been installed on 5 or 6 ships. And this one is really easy to use. You just have to get the rotor to turn. When a sail will have to be rigged up and then rigged down. So again, there will be a problem with the crew and the seamen that will have to have new skills.
Hey, Carl.
Yes, sir.
I think that we've had 3 incredible presentations, and I must admire the way all of you have given quite succinct answers, which has really gotten us through a lot of questions. I'm curious, Carl, the IUS is, with its 11 various regional organizations, and then being part of the global OOS program, you deal with all kinds of data. You know, and different people focus on different things. And I know there's an interest among the IUS associations to work with industry. And we ask you, because not only are you a partner in many of the things we've done, but also because you understand how important this data is. When you listen to these 3 companies, because our companies obviously have to work on applications so they can sell something to somebody, how does it impact you, and how can you, I don't mean to say help them, but how do you put them in touch with the right OOS around the country, or the EuroGOOS, or someone where you say, you know, they ought to know what you're doing? If I can turn the tables a little bit on you, it'd be the last couple of minutes, maybe I could ask you if you see these and say, wow, there's ways that I should introduce you to somebody.
So, great question. I'm smiling big because I had crafted a beautiful closing question that was going to go to all the 3.
Oh, good.
Which would have kept me out of the hot seat. But my question was going to be to ask them what kind of engagements and venues and webinars like this one should we be creating opportunities for in the future to help these conversations. And so one of the things I do in my world is ask that question, because you said it right. We often have small companies finding ways for applied solutions that, in my network of players, the regions are trying to meet highest priority needs for coastal and ocean data. If there's a business proposition where money can be made and a company can deliver on that business model, that's clear and great and should be done. And then when we're in this blended academic government partnership type program, I've got small companies helping on the data side, and we convene players and advanced capabilities there. And so one of the big things I do is matchmaking. If I see there's an application area we're not really involved much with, but someone's got skill there, and then there's a need that I've heard about, I try to just connect those dots and get out of the way. But that was the beginning of my answer too, is try to design engagements, convening experts to have conversations to answer just that question too, is to do what, so what, you get down to brass tacks, is like, well, this is all nice, but what do you need? What is it specifically? Or do you know someone that does that? So a lot of this is networking too. And when you don't have a skill or capability, you go to a more distant network to find that. And what you're doing with this group and TMA BlueTech does is make those connections possible in a more efficient way. And so try to enable and advance those capabilities and those opportunities.
I certainly did
Sometimes
I didn't mean to preempt your last question. I apologize, Carl.
No, that's okay. But so that's what, that's also from here, we can give you feedback on what these guys can, what works for them in the future of these types of presentation opportunities as well.
Yeah. Well, we are coming up to the witching hour. Melissa, is there a final slide that we should put up? Oh God. Well, I didn't expect that. Okay. Well, thank you for all coming to celebrate my birthday. I really appreciate you being here. As my father would say, please just send money. I really want to thank you because, and thank you, Melissa. I certainly did not expect that would be the last slide. You embarrassed me. But, this is like all things you do. This is a labor of love. We're doing this to help our companies. And when I say our companies, I'm not just talking about TMA BlueTech companies. Sylvain, you're a member of the Polymer Bretagne Atlantique or Méditerranée. They're both, really important partners for us. And the relationships that each of you build company to company or, to your client, we are trying to support those through relationships we have with people like Carl and the IU's program and the EuroGOOS and the various government or quasi-governmental or international agencies. And we're always trying to figure out how to put you forward in the best way. So our next presentations, as you can see, is September 17th and then October 15th. Even if you don't know that's going to be relevant to you, it's really always amazing to me how people will listen to someone else and find an opportunity to work together. Because technologies, particularly ones you're working with, big data, have so many applications. So I want to give a special thanks to Carl and the IU's program. We have nothing but admiration for the work you guys do. To our co-sponsors, which is the BlueTech Cluster Alliance, a number of whom were on the phone on the webinar today. The Brink is an accelerator at University of San Diego. If anybody wants to help us, sponsorship of opportunities are available. But finally, for the three companies, you guys are all winners. You're doing great stuff. We really, really appreciate working with you and look forward to helping in other ways. So again, thank you for being with me on my birthday. It wasn't planned this way. This is the third Thursday of the month, but it'll be a great day. And I will leave by about 5:15, I think, to be home early to spend time with my wife and then Zooming with my children. So thank you all for being here. We look forward to talking to you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy
Thanks so
birthday.
much.
Thanks all.
Great to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.